All right, so pretty rad turn of events, very because Bentonville moment. So we're out here, we're set up to shoot the how-to on steep takeoff, steep lips, which was something that came from the viewers. And we're hanging out trying to figure out how best to do it. And this ragtag group comes rolling up and I'm like, I recognize that dude. So what's really cool is, this is my man Ty.
What's up, guys?
His crew from Kansas City. Go ahead and give an intro.
Yeah, Jesse, Dan.
Jesse and Dan, and Ty, we go back a ways, actually. Give them just a quick intro about how we met.
Guys, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years ago, I was down here with a couple of buddies, and I just got my full suspension bike, and I was so scared of drops. I wouldn't do drops. I'd see these drops I thought were huge in KC, and I just wouldn't do them. So I came down here. Rich, it's like a Monday morning, 10 a.m., no one's out here. Rich is like, what's up, guys? We start talking, and he's like, let's go check out this area. It's the bottom of Schrone Train. So there's a bigger drop, at the bottom of Schrone Train, and Rich is like, oh, it's nothing, it's not bad. He worked me through it. I hit the drop. I was so stoked. The rest of the way home, everybody was stoked. We're high-fiving at the end of the day. We just got to ride with Rich. We just freaking learned how to do drops. So that's what really started me getting into doing drops. So now I'll hit the biggest ones back home, and it was an awesome day.
So I didn't realize he was filming. So he's got a YouTube channel called Ty's Rides. So be sure to check that out, because that story that he just talked about, he made that video, and that video is on his channel. And it's really cool because it's raw and it's real. I didn't know he had the camera rolling on his chest almost the whole time. So it was a really fun day, and it's pretty awesome that I ran into you today, because what I want to do is I want to take these guys and work them through this how-to and see if we can make some progression right here in the next, let's call it 90 minutes. So you guys want to give that a try?
Right on, yeah.
All right, so hopefully we can make this happen. To kick off the videos, I don't know, you've probably watched a decent amount of them at this point. Do you know what we say to the camera? Go, say it.
Are you ready?
Okay, so where are we at? We are in a really rad spot in Oz. It's the all-new All-American Trail, so you'll start to see more of this. I'm sure you've probably seen it if you're a local on social media. Great spot to really teach this, because right here you have what this video is about. You got a pretty steep takeoff. Now, to give you some context, if we look at this, okay, and I'm gonna use my bike. This is a fairly long bike, so size large, Da Vinci Troy. If you look right here, okay, the bike is taking up over half of this takeoff. So what you need to understand first is what's going on here. What are the dynamics? So the best way I can explain this is the window is closing. So when you watched the Ride Series how-to on jumps, we were using the MTB hopper. So the MTB hopper has a very gradual progression, very gradual radius. And the reason is that gives you more time. It gives you a larger window to deal with what's happening. So it's totally counterintuitive. Most people think, okay, I want to learn how to jump, so I'm going to start on a small kicker. So for me, the term kicker, by nature, that's a bad thing if you're a new rider, because what it wants to do is kick you, exactly what it's called. The smaller the jump, the shorter the jump, and the steeper the transition, the worse it is. You want a larger jump with a longer, mellower transition to ease you into the dynamics of what are happening. So that is what we need to deal with today. So I have to go back to the jump basics. You need to understand the jump basics, because what's happening here is no different than any other jump. You just have to make some slight adjustments to deal with how abrupt the energy feedback is going to be. So what that means is probably the most important thing that I can tell you. And quite honestly, I'd say it's not my opinion. We've been here for 2 hours, and what have we seen over and over and over again is people come and hit this and their hips get back behind the seat. And what happens is they hit the top of this, they load the rear of the bike up, and boing, they get bucked over. That's a bad thing. So the first way to alleviate that is get your hips over the bottom bracket. Literally, if that's the one thing you get from this video, you are going to be way better off than you were before. But of course, in true Rich Drew style, I'm gonna give you a few more nuggets of goodness with this. So here we go, let's get into it. Ty, when you came up to this last time through, okay, What are you thinking? What's going through your mind as you're about to hit it?
Man, I'm thinking, I don't know how to hit this jump. I don't want to wreck. I don't want to go over the bars. So I have a tendency, like you said, to pull my hips back and not be centered. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. And obviously speed. Yeah. Like I said, I'll hit the drops, but the jumps, a little more skilled.
Okay, one key thing that he said was speed. So you have two options with this. You can slow down and really take your time getting used to the dynamic. Right. Or you can come in faster and you can dissipate energy. Some people will call it a scrub. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the former. We're gonna talk about speed first. Okay. So that's the first thing I would say is come in slower. So in this scenario, come in slower, especially if it's a tabletop that you don't have to clear. Come in slow. Come in slow, get used to what's happening and then build up. Right. Okay, that can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. Now the second thing you need to think about is technique. You need to stop pedaling early, you need to hit your pedals level, and you need to have your hips over the bottom bracket. So this is where it gets kind of unique. And what I love about guys like Ty is he's an athlete. All you gotta do is look at those guns. Anybody who's an athlete, it's a little bit easier to coach them because you know where your hips are in space. Sure. So when you know where your hips are in space, it makes a little bit more sense. The other piece of this is you have to hold yourself up with your core or your midline. Okay, when you come in, the dynamic is gonna build quickly and the bike's gonna wanna push against you. Right. So you gotta be careful because what's been happening is the bike pushes against you, the thing comes up and it hits you right in your butt and that's what bucks you over. So you need to be stable enough to absorb and deal with that input, but you can't be super stiff that you get rigor mortis and it shoots you off to one side. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna run through and I'm gonna show you what I want. Okay, I want the body positioning. So think about where your hips are over the bottom bracket. Second is speed. Okay. You're gonna come in way slower. Okay, you might feel a little goofy because you're not going too far, but that's okay, we'll get there. Right. These are the things we wanna work on right now. Once you get more comfortable with what's happening here, the cool thing is you barely even need to increase the speed. What you can do is think about getting more lift. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
So this is the thing I think that's
loading
lost.
the bike.
Totally loading the bike, and what's lost on most people is they come in really fast. So right here, literally, if you roll in, I'll roll in, I'm scrubbing the brakes. Not even pedaling, I'm scrubbing the brakes here because there's too much speed for me. This takeoff, I believe, is NASA approved to put you into orbit. Yeah. I don't want to go into orbit today. Okay. All right, come in, centered, deal with that energy. All right, level pedals, loaded, and deal with it. Stay relaxed. A lot of that energy is being created right here. So you come in, you're ready for it right here. But what's gonna happen is if you graft it, it's gonna spike. So that energy is gonna rise really quickly here. So what you need to do is be ready for that. So now what I'm gonna ask you to do is come in slower. You know why? If you come in slower, what we're gonna do is we're gonna open that window up a little bit more. Okay, think about the window. The faster I come in, the smaller the window to deal with that energy. So if you think about it this way, right now we're hitting it with a hammer. I want you to try to compress a coil spring. That's gonna take a little bit longer. So the more we can get this to gradually build and not spike, the better. Make sense? Yep. All right, dude. A little slower. Standing tall, nice and relaxed. Good. When you're traveling slower in space, your body inputs then need to match. Okay, so you need to be careful about, you come through at one speed, you load and you open at a certain time.
Load more from slower.
Well, potentially. Okay. And that's the thing is we don't know until you get that data. Okay. But something needs to change. So if you come in at, let's call it 15 miles an hour, you load right, you open right, you're gonna get a certain amount of lift. Right. If you come in now at 12 miles an hour, when you load and when you open is gonna be a little bit different. Okay. So that's the problem a lot of people have is they slow down and they go, okay, I'm gonna try it slower. Well, then the timing's off. And they go, well, that didn't work. It's the timing, it wasn't the speed. Get the timing right, then decide, okay, is that speed right? So you got a lot of things that you're analyzing here. Next thing I want you to think about is when you come in, your torso's bending, you're down a little bit and your elbows are bent. Right. Okay, so think about what we're trying to do with this energy right here. Right. The more your torso's down, the more weight is on the front of the bike. So this is key, you gotta think about this. You're a big dude. If I was a light young kid, not that big of a deal. But the more weight that's forward on the bike, When you ramp up into this, you're gonna spike that fork.
Right.
So what I want you to try to do now is just stand up a tiny bit. Okay, you're gonna stand up a tiny bit. So heavy feet, lighter hands. That's where you're gonna have to use them abs to hold yourself up. Midline.
Okay.
That's what the cool guys call it now, midline.
So stand up a little more relaxed.
A little more relaxed, all right? Get it. I'm confident here. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Good, heavy feet. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So, good job. Okay, now you're seeing this real life progression. This is awesome. This couldn't have worked out any better. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna tweak some things.
Okay.
The lead in, the takeoff is great. What I want you to do now is, once you're in the air, pretty much do nothing. Okay, so have you seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, well, where Kunu's trying to teach him to surf. Pop up, do less, do less, do less.
Yeah.
Okay, in the air, do less.
Okay.
When you take off, you're pulling the bike up into you and setting it back down.
So I don't need to do that.
What I want you to try to do is keep the bike right here with you. Don't pull it up, okay? Keep it like right in the middle.
Okay.
And what you're gonna think about is this, dude. This is your body, this is the bike. As you go through, you're staying with it.
Stay with the bike.
So what you want basically is to match the trajectory of the bike. And the reason is this. If you're up and down centered in the bike, you have the most 360-degree movement.
Right.
Speed is good. Open up big.
Yes!
So basically in this time frame, what I think we were able to do is highlight the fact that there's no rocket science with this. And I probably logged 100+ comments of people saying, that's great, now how do you deal with steep lips? You basically deal with them the same way that you deal with a regular lip that's awesome, the trajectory is great. You have to have the basics down. You have to have your hips where they need to be. You have to think about your speed and you have to slowly build up. Now it's a little bit more complex here, but you saw Ty was crushing it. So now what I would say the next step is you come in with either a little more speed or try to get a little more lift.
Okay.
So you're getting really close, but you're still getting the back tire right on the top.
Right.
So you decide, do you want to come in with a little more speed or do you want to get a little bit more lift? That's up to you.
A little more speed.
Okay, come with a little bit more speed, but be ready because more speed means smaller window. Timing is more critical. Now, what I want you to think about doing here, and you almost did it last time, is you want the bike to match the trajectory. So what you're gonna think about is in the air, you're gonna compress, you're basically gonna do a crunch in the air. Your arms are gonna push the bike forward and the bike is gonna match the transition. Yeah, don't think too much about it. It's just gonna let it happen naturally. All right? All right, dude, let's do it. A little more speed. Open up.
Yes! Yes!
You're seeing it right there. Impressive, dude. Very impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it back to coachability.
A little more speed, I think.
It's very, very coachable. It's not me. Okay, I can't take credit for this. Ty is very coachable. So what did you do, more speed?
I had a little more speed. I think I could still even bring it more.
Okay, you can, but do you need to? That's the question.
Right.
So think about this, dude. You can bring more speed, but do you need to?
Right.
Now, if you want to bring more speed, okay, if you want to go to that Eleanor Roosevelt quote, America's about hot, nasty speed, or something like that, dude, let's give Eleanor what she wants. All right, well, that was a little different than I had originally written out, but it's awesome. I'm really fired up that it worked out that way because everybody got to see it in real life. And a lot of people have said, hey dude, can you get somebody and actually walk them through, because I'm more of a visual learner. So seeing somebody make that journey like you did, dude, that was rad. I'm super impressed with what you did. And what are your thoughts on what just transpired in the last 45 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, you saw when I came down and hit the first one. I mean, it was ugly. It was almost scary. And then a couple tips and, probably less than 45 minutes of changing a couple things and just being coached up. I'm on cloud 9 right now, guys. It felt so good. It felt fun. It didn't feel scary. It got to the point where it felt fun, not scary. And man,
That's
So awesome.
That's
so
the key.
Awesome.
The idea is fun. Okay, when these are built, the idea is for it to be fun. So, I mean, we could break it down a number of different ways, but what I'm going to come back to is start slow. Like you watched Ty go through it. We slowed him down. We got his hips where they needed to be. Do that. Deal with that. Get comfortable with that. Then slowly start to work on a little bit more dynamic load and open, and stay with the bike. It's small increments. Now, after that, you can bring in a little bit more speed, get a little more comfortable dealing with the dynamic. So, man, I think
Guys, I can honestly say that this is real. This is real right now. I'm not a great mountain bike rider. I'm more, I ride gravel when the mountain bike trails are wet, but this is real in under 45 minutes, and I'm damn near clearing this thing.
Yeah.
So if you follow these little tips, man, it will work for you. If it worked for me, it can work for you, trust me.
I'm fired up, man.
So I'm fired up, man.
I think this is gonna work out a lot better the way we just did this than so much better than it would have. So, man, all I have left is hopefully you're a subscriber at this point. The value that we see in this content, it's there, and the comments, the feedback's been great. So we want to keep doing it. So in order to do that, we need more comments, we need more subscribers, more views, all that stuff. So we love it. We love it. Hit subscribe. Help us out on Patreon. We're gonna have those shirts and hats available real soon, and stay tuned for some more sweet content. So other than that, the daily happenings will be on Instagram. Check out Ty's Rides on YouTube, and we're gonna end this one, and I haven't had the best of luck ending it with guests. So we're gonna get our glasses off, okay? And I think you know how to end this, right? 1, 2, 3.
Peace out, dumpers.
Yes,
Dude,
that's what I'm talking about.
I
Nice
knew
work,
that.
dude.
I knew the